Welcome to Prime 9, the countdown show that covers the very best in baseball. Guaranteed to start arguments, not end. This week, it's the 9 greatest league championship series games. Why 9? That's baseball. 9 players, 9 innings. Prime 9. With more than 400 LCS games to choose from, picking the 9 best made for a difficult process.
He took a home run away from Roland!
For what constitutes a great game is in the eye of the beholder.
And the Yankees have come all the way back in one of the greatest comebacks you'll ever see.
They have to be the games that are talked about time and time again in the years that follow. The litmus test that in this case is being unforgettable.
Can he save at the plate?
So here they are, the greatest LCS games of all time, starting with number 9 on Prime 9. The 1976 Cincinnati Reds were the reigning World Series champions and were now gunning for their second straight pennant.
Best in the West again in 76.
The Big Red Machine faced a formidable Phillies team in the NLCS, but they quickly went up 2-0 in the best-of-5 series.
The Phillies have their backs to the wall. They cannot afford another loss.
The Phillies did take a 1-0 lead in Game 3, but no lead was safe against these resilient Reds.
If you score 8 runs, they score 10, what have you accomplished?
The runners goes, it's swung on and looped down into left field. Cohen coming hard, he can't get through. It bounces by, and the Reds lead it 4-3.
Still, the Phils fought back and took a 6-4 lead in the 9th. But there's a reason these Reds of the 70s became a dynasty.
Even when we had the lead going out there in the 9th, I knew that those bats over there were potent.
Swung on, fly ball, back into deep left center, and you can chalk that one up. Not a bad way to begin an inning in which you need a couple of runs to get even.
Cincinnati led the majors with 54 come-from-behind wins in 76 and had rallied from deficits to win games 1 and 2 of this series. Why should the clincher be any different?
Swung on, fly ball, deep left center field. Maddox on the warning track, looking up. It's gone! Johnny Bench with a home run to left center, and the Reds have tied it up on back-to-back ninth-inning home runs.
But the relentless Reds were not done, and with the bases loaded, Ken Griffey looked to complete the comeback with a much less powerful hit.
Griffey swings, slow chopper, right side. Here comes Concepcion. Nolan boots the ball. Reds have swept the Philadelphia Phillies to move into the 1976 World Series.
Any Game 7 is fraught with tension, but the clincher of the 2006 NLCS reached a whole nother level with what happened in the 6th inning of a tie game.
Fastball hit in the air to left field. That's deep.
When the ball was hit, it was one of those things as a manager where you just hold your breath because you knew he hit it good. I'm just praying to keep the ball in the ballpark.
Back goes Chavez, back near the wall, leaping. He made the catch. He took a home run away from Roland.
When he snatched the ball, I turned to my bench coach at the time, Jerry Manuel, and I said, you know what, brother? We're going to the show, man. We are going, because if I get a catch like that, when that ball was clearly over the fence, I just knew our luck was going to change.
But baseball is a capricious sport, and when Yadier Molina came up in the top of the 9th with the game still tied, he turned Endy's catch into a Game 7 footnote.
Swing and a fly ball hit to deep left field. Chavez going back. He's at the wall. It is gone. A 2-run homer into the Cardinal bullpen.
It went from deafening noise where you just couldn't hear anything to just like a quiet gasp in the stadium.
Still, the Mets refused to quit, loading the bases in the bottom of the 9th. Setting the stage for Carlos Beltran to become a legend, or GOAT.
We're 1 out away from winning this thing. Now it's Beltran, the guy, the Cardinal killer.
And wouldn't you know it, the season rests in the hands of Carlos Beltran, a guy who has hit 7 home runs in the league championship series against the Cardinals.
The 0-2 delivery. Curve struck him out looking.
Beltran's looking hard, breaking. Whoops.
Curveball in there, 4, strike 3.
Then there's pandemonium.
The St. Louis Cardinals have won the 2006 National League pennant.
Welcome back to Prime 9, featuring the greatest League Championship Series games. It's time now for number 7, which happens to be a Game 7. This matchup of aces pitted John Smoltz against Doug Drabek in the deciding game of the '92 NLCS.
Struck him out. Another live fastball from Drabek, who works a 1-2-3 8th inning.
Drabek was brilliant, and the Pirates scored twice off Smoltz to take a 2-0 lead into the 9th. But the Braves began to stir.
It didn't matter if we were down 2 runs or 3 runs or 4 runs in the last inning. We really believed that we had a great chance to come back and win ball games.
And Atlanta did load the bases in the 9th to mark the end of the night for Drabek and bring Ron Gant to the plate.
Tying run at second, winning run at first. Gant hits one to left. Bonds on the track, at the wall, makes the catch. Pendleton on to score the first Atlanta run of the ball game.
Still another walk would reload the bases, putting the not-so-fleet-of-foot Sid Bream on second, representing the winning run.
The consideration now is, do you use a pinch runner for Sid Bream?
We were out of hitters. We were out of everything. So, we unloaded the revolver, shot all the bullets.
And now the Braves season hangs in the balance as Francisco Cabrera comes to the plate to bat for the pitcher.
Francisco Cabrera played sparingly after he'd been called up. He was called up as kind of a third catcher, kind of an emergency guy to have around.
Line drive and a base hit! Justice has scored the tying run. Bream to the plate.
Coming around third base, my thoughts were, do whatever you can just to get there as quick as you can.
So when Cabrera got the hit, we were all running towards home plate. I think I almost beat Sid Bream there to home plate from the dugout.
But the exciting part about that was to see him actually slide into home, look over at the umpire like safe or out, and exhaust it, and then fall back and everybody jump on him.
It was Game 5 of the '99 NLCS, and the Mets were fighting hard against the Atlanta Braves to stave off elimination. But 9 innings wouldn't prove to be enough.
9 in the books at Shea in Game 5, Mets 2, Braves 2, and we are going to extra innings.
As the rain fell, the marathon at Shea continued, eventually reaching the 15th inning. That's when the Braves struck.
And he drives the ball to right center field. Goes by Dunston. That will bring Weiss home. And the Atlanta Braves lead it 3-2.
The Mets appeared to be finished, but Sean Dunston would hear none of it and waged a battle that inspired his teammates.
Sean Dunston probably gave the greatest one single at-bat I've ever seen a player give in a playoff situation like that.
Now straight back. That's 9 pitches now.
He must have fouled off 10 or 12 pitches.
3-2 to Dunston. Hit on the ground toward the middle. Base hit. Dunston on the 12th pitch of the at-bat. Grounds a single to center field. And now the Mets have the tying run on base.
The Mets would load the bases, and a walk to Todd Pratt tied the game.
And now the winning run is on third base with only 1 out. And Robin Ventura will try and win it for New York.
It was one of those surreal moments. You almost knew beforehand that Ventura was going to win the game.
A 2-1 pitch. A drive in the air to deep right field. That ball headed toward the wall.
When the ball was hit, we all knew that we won the game.
That ball is out of here! Out of here! A game-winning grand slam home run. They're mobbing him before he can get to second base. The Mets have won the ball game.
Ventura's slam was ruled a single, ending at 5 hours and 46 minutes, the longest NLCS game in history. Welcome back to Prime 9, featuring the greatest LCS games. We've had a game from the 70s, one from the 2000s, and a pair from the 90s. The 80s are coming up big time, but first, a Game 5 for number 5.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Fenway Park. The Red Sox try to keep the season going with Game 5 of the American League Championship Series.
After their incredible comeback in Game 4 to prevent a Yankee sweep, Boston faced another deficit late in Game 5, and David Ortiz, the previous night's hero, was once again up to the task.
Drive deep to left center, way back by the monster seats and gone. David Ortiz with a tremendous home run.
A walk and a hit put a runner on third, and Jason Varitek lofted a high fly to center.
Roberts heads home, and he scores the tying run.
The game remained tied for the next 5 frames, when with 2 on and 2 out in the bottom of the 14th, that man came up big once again.
And another golden chance to win Game 5. Ortiz marching up.
I always get myself prepared to be ready in the situation, and I know that this ball club always count with my bat.
Ortiz had a rip, 1 and 2.
The more pitches he saw from Loaiza, the less of a chance Loaiza can get him out.
10th pitch of this at-bat. Quite an at-bat here by David Ortiz, and this is something. Ortiz fights it off center field. Damon running to the plate, and he can keep on running to New York. Game 6 tomorrow night.
This man has just won Games 4 and Games 5 by himself.
He did it with a home run just last night, and he comes back and does it again.
The Red Sox would, of course, go on to win the series in 7 and then capture their first World Series title since 1918.
Game 6, with the Mets leading the Astros 3-2.
It's safe to say that New York considered this 6th game a must-win situation. For the pitcher, who had already dominated them twice in the series, was itching for still another start in Game 7.
The Mets fans, the Astros fans, everybody knew that the Mets had to win Game 6, because if they faced Mike Scott in Game 7, they were going home.
But though the Mets trailed 3-0 when they entered the 9th, they felt to a man that the game was far from over.
We had this kind of magic about us that whole year. You know, there was no question about us, being able to come back.
Mookie will score, 3-2.
Before you know it, we were back in it.
Hernandez will score, tie ball game.
The Mets went on to take the lead in the 14th and appeared poised to win the series. But no.
I'm just saying, hook foul.
High in the air, curving, it is home run!
And it's off the screen.
Hatcher has homered to tie at the bottom of the 14th.
So here we go again. And we're tied up, and we got to go back at it again.
Come the 16th, the Mets went up by 3 to again seemingly put it away.
3 big runs score. And it is 7-4 Mets.
But Houston wasn't about to let this classic game end without a fight.
Our season had been built off of the don't die attitude, and so we always felt like we could come back.
And they are still alive. It is 7-6.
As fate has been, they just kept fighting back. They were a team that didn't give up either.
Orozco against Bass. The tying run is at second base.
Keith Hernandez went to the mound, and he said, Jesse, if you get crazy and throw a fastball, I'm going to hit you. And he didn't. He stayed with his curveball.
Swing and a miss! Struck him out! Struck him out! Mets win it! The Mets have won it! They're in the World Series!
California had just rallied to win Game 4.
The Angels go up 3-1.
And were 1 win away from clinching their first pennant. They took a 5-2 lead into the 9th inning of Game 5, and their ace was pitching a gem.
Down he goes with emphasis.
The Angels were on the verge of going to the World Series for the very first time, and they come into the 9th inning, and Mike Witt is pitching a terrific game for the Angels. It looked like he was going to pitch a complete game.
But with 1 out and 1 on, Don Baylor made Witt pay. After getting the second out, Witt was replaced by Gary Lucas, who hit Rich Gedman. And that brought
Donnie Moore out of the bullpen to face Dave Henderson.
Gene Mauch basically said, Dave Henderson cannot catch up to you. Do not throw him anything off speed. Nothing.
I was a backup player and I only had like one at bat the whole series. Donnie Moore had a distinct advantage over me, and I was just up there trying to survive.
To left field and deep.
I got halfway down to first base and the ball went out of the ballpark, and that's when I lifted in the air and did the 360.
Down he goes back, and it's gone! Unbelievable!
Before that ball was hit, you couldn't hear yourself think.
Astonishing!
After that home run, you could hear a pin drop.
Boston went on to win in 11, and the Angels never got over losing a game and series they thought they had, as the Red Sox captured the pennant.
You're looking at one for the ages here.
I think all the Angels players knew that that was their opportunity, and they had blown it.
We now return to Prime 9, where in this episode we're featuring the 9 greatest League Championship Series games. You should know that while a single series might have had multiple great games, we limited ourselves to just one per series. So from the 400-plus LCS games that have been played, here are the 2 greatest we've ever seen. We begin with number 2. The 1980 NLCS between Houston and the Phillies is considered one of the greatest series of all time, with 3 of the first 4 games going into extra innings.
It was a knockdown, drag-out series. It was a battle of wills. Who wanted it the most?
Houston had the home crowd for the 5th and deciding game, and they had Nolan Ryan on the mound. In the bottom of the 7th, the Astros broke a 2-2 tie with 3 hits and a wild pitch to take what appeared to be a commanding lead.
And Houston has jumped on them for 3 in the bottom of the 7th.
Down 5-2 in the 8th inning with Nolan Ryan on the mound. I mean, you're not supposed to win that game.
Nobody out, top of the 8th inning. The bunt down the third base line. Ryan can't make the play.
Before you even turned around, we had the bases loaded and nobody out. And then the roof sort of caved in on Nolan.
That's outside, ball 4, forces in a run. 5-3 ball game. It's a base hit to right center, and we're tied at 5.
A Manny Trio triple plated 2 more runs and gave the Phils a 7-5 lead.
Phillies have scored 5 runs in the 8th inning.
But then it was Houston's turn to show their resilience.
The way that Houston battled us, every time we took the lead, they come back. And they just kept clawing and scratching. They eventually tied it.
And we're even at 7.
Extra innings were the theme of this series. This game was no different, which brought Gary Maddox to the plate at the top of the 10th.
Gary swings. It's a base hit. Cool overruns it to give Philadelphia the lead 8-7 in the top of the 10th.
Finally, after 4 straight extra inning games, Philly had its pennant.
Maddox going. It's over. The Phillies win it, 8-7.
I think it's the greatest postseason baseball series that nobody ever talks about. 4 consecutive extra inning games, 4 in a row. It's unheard of.
I'll tell you, it just didn't look like it was in the cards, but we kept battling. We've shown so much character. I don't know where to even start.
But our choice for the greatest LCS game ever played is the 7th game of the 2003 series between the Red Sox and Yankees, which followed a script that Hollywood could not have written any better.
When you go tonight with Pedro against Roger, that's pretty special. And I think we're all waiting to see it.
What a perfect way to finish off this ALCS.
Boston jumped on Clemens early, scoring 4 runs by the 4th.
Swing and a drive. Deep to left. Way back. Way back. Home run, Kevin Millar.
That is it for Roger Clemens. So far, Pedro Martinez has been outstanding.
Pedro took a 3-run lead into the bottom of the 8th, and time was running out on New York.
Yankees with only 6 outs left score 3 runs and get back into this game.
It's a 5-2 lead. This game is over. The Sox are going to win the American League pennant on Yankee soil. Ball game. It's over.
With 115 pitches on the night, Grady Little is going to stick with his starter.
The Yankees scored 1 run off Martinez, and then
swung on and looped to shallow center field. It is a base hit. 1 run scores Bernie. Here's Matsui. He scores. Posada goes to second with a double. And the Yankees have come all the way back to tie the game at 5 in one of the greatest comebacks you'll ever see.
Mariano Rivera shut the door from the 9th through the 11th. And in the bottom of that frame, an unlikely hero came up just looking to reach base against Tim Wakefield.
The American League pennant at stake.
Here's Aaron Boone coming up to the plate, and I just happened to say to him, just get a single. Just hit a single right field.
Aaron Boone to lead off. His first at-bat of the game. There's a fly ball deep to left. It's on its way. There it goes. And the Yankees are going to the World Series. Aaron Boone has hit a home run. The Yankees go to the World Series for the 39th time in their remarkable history.
I'm trying to look around, but I can't really feel or hear anything. I'm just, wow. Unbelievable. To have a place in history of that stadium is something that I'll get to tell my grandkids about someday.
It was the greatest feeling I could ever have, especially in that tense of battle in Game 7 of the championship series. All of a sudden, we're heading to another World Series.
That Game 7 in 2003 was smack dab in the middle of the apex of the long-standing Yankee-Red Sox rivalry. Consider that over the course of those 2 years, they played 38 regular season games. New York won 18 and Boston won 20. And in 14 face-to-face LCS games, they each won 7. There was emotion, acrimony,
There's a fight on the side.
and a supremely high level of performance. Boston closed out this 2-year stretch with the most incredible comeback in LCS history.
American League champ.
For the first time in 87 years, a World Series title. That's our Prime 9. What's yours?